My name is Joseph Gray. I have 4 kids, a wife named Tanea. I visited Triangle Family Services for the first time in October of 2018 because I was court ordered to do so. Originally, going into it, I thought this was just going to be a horrible experience, that I'm just going to do my time and get out of it. I didn't realize at the time that it would then change my life. I will say I wish I would have discovered Triangle Family Services a lot sooner. I was abusive. Like everybody else that probably visits Triangle Family Services, you go in there originally thinking you did nothing wrong. These people don't understand me. I'm the victim. I'm being forced to spend my weekends here. And that's how I felt. It wasn't until after probably about the second or third visit that I started to kind of break the walls down and not be so defensive. I was an excuse maker at first. And Tim, one of the directors, one of our mentors, he said, you have to open your mind. And that's one thing I did. And we were watching a video and looking at documentation on the difference between power and control and also the equality will. And at that time, I realized that I was somebody who needed to be in here because I exhibited the behaviors of somebody that was abusive, somebody that did operate in a power and control. I did use financial abuse in my marriage. I did use economic abuse. I did use verbal abuse with my kids, verbal abuse with my wife. And I didn't really realize it at all. I will say, knowing what I know now, it was definitely the whole toxic masculinity, thinking that I had to have this image, this bravado, and it was toxic. One thing that Family Services taught me, and I'm sure it taught everybody else that comes through the program, is how to be vulnerable, how to accept responsibility, how to be accountable for yourself, and how to, in other words, as the Greek philosopher says, know thyself. Because that's only the real way that you can start to make change if you want to change. And in my situation, it was either change drastically or I was going to be divorced, period. And at first I went into this thinking, okay, I'll make some, changes here, changes there. I won't yell as much or anything like that, and I'll be fine. And I was hit with a rude awakening after digging in the cobwebs of myself. We go through this thing of your life is like your life is a tree. There's roots, there's the branch, and there's the leaves. The leaves is the behaviors and actions and all that kind of stuff. The branch is your thoughts and behaviors, and the roots is where it all comes from. So trying to change your actions and stuff is not really going to dig into anything. You have to get down to the roots of how you became basically who you are. And for me, it was a lot of my upbringing. My father was stern, military, so I saw this bravado, macho man. He wasn't very soft at the time, not until older in life. So once I started to really look at myself on why I thought the way I thought, why I thought that, men have to be this way, or to have relationships with women, I have to act a certain way. Once I got to the root of that and started to realize that that was actually wrong and toxic, was I be able to then slowly and surely start to change. And throughout that change, it's kind of transformed my whole life. Transformed my life with my kids and my wife, and just with people who I'm around on an everyday basis. I'm no longer mentally abusive. Whenever I find myself getting bothered or upset or frustrated, I now know the techniques and tools that take a time out. I know what triggers me. And now I have appropriate ways to respond to, frustrations, instead of yelling at the top of my lungs or maybe hitting a wall or something like that, or cursing at my kids. Now it's really more of a conversation. One of the things that I learned in Triangle Family Services is also just to spend what we call it table time now. And this is where we have just around 30 minutes every single day just to talk and to be vulnerable. I typically lead and allow, just my kids to see me be vulnerable and tell them just, these are my faults, these are my flaws, these are my thoughts for today, these are my actions for today. This is how I could handle the situation better. And what's happened is now they're able to now, express themselves a lot better when they're frustrated with things. These are all things I've learned in Triangle Family Services. Things I thought were silly and mumbo jumbo, actually part of my daily experience. I often say that Triangle Family Services gave me a new lease on my life. I once said that when you lease something, you don't own it. If you lease a house or you lease a car, you don't really own it. So they didn't really give me a new lease in my life. They gave me a new ownership of my life, because now I'm no longer controlled by my emotions, my first thought, my first instinct. Now I'm able to kind of control myself and my reactions. And I'm a big believer that Triangle Family Services, this in them, their mission, their platform, I call it curriculum. Their therapy is, when I look back on it, it's pretty much 6 months of therapy, the best therapy I ever had. If we were able to teach this in schools to the youth, to young kids, before they get in this situation, I think life would be a lot better around here for both men and women. Um, if we're able to get to the community and teach men that you don't have to be violent, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to say I'm sorry. It's okay to focus on reconciliation. Then a lot of things can change. Again, thank you, Triangle Family Services, for giving me an opportunity to really change my life and save my marriage, and to be a better father and husband in my own house, be a better member of this community as well. Thank you.